Yo, what's up, everybody? So, I was just outside a minute ago, first of all, and it was really cold. Otherwise, I would have recorded some shit. But there's this ambulance siren, I think, or a fire truck or whatever. I think an ambulance, maybe a cop, or I don't know what it was. But I just heard the siren when I got across the street, and it was just like, and it honked its horn right after. And it's just like, whoop, 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 whoop. Like it just does the siren real quick and then honks the horn real quick when I got across the street. But on last night's video, I was walking by his house and I thought I turned my camera over at him, but I guess I didn't. But there were these people in this house. I was walking behind their house on the path, and they had their back door open, and they're all sitting at this table playing a game, like a card game or whatever type of game they're playing. And they're all like sitting around this table, like right, like in front of the door inside the house. And the door is open, and they're all just like yelling as they're playing this game. And I started to hear them yelling as I'm like approaching the house. Like I didn't hear anybody yelling before that. It's like as I'm getting closer to the house is when they started yelling. And then when I walk by them, and like when I'm walking by the corners of the house, and when I walk by the door, they're like yelling synced, and they're like, and like whatever the dude's name, they're like chanting the dude's name. They're like, Gary, Gary, Gary. And they're doing it synced, and they're like yelling synced. And they were doing it at the corners of their house, and like when I walked in front of the door, and probably the corners of the other houses before that house, but like I wasn't really paying attention, or like I wasn't like sure if they were synchronizing yet or whatever. But then when I walk by their house, they're doing it at the corners of the house. When I walk in front of the door, and then they're doing it at the next house over. When I walk by that house, they're like yelling synced again, like yelling louder, and like, yeah. Ah! And then and then I think they stopped yelling after that. Like I didn't hear them yelling after I walked by too. Like they did for a little bit, like a few more houses, but then I didn't hear them anymore after that. Like they started the game and ended the game as I walked by. It was a really fast game. And one person in there had a red shirt on, but like I didn't see him like moving next to me synced, but they were just like yelling synced. So I just wanted to talk about that because I didn't really catch it on camera, I guess. You can hear them, but yeah. You couldn't see the corners of the houses either anyway. Like it's too dark to like catch that. But like I thought I turned my camera over so you could see the door with the light on in it, but I guess I didn't. So I guess they're not really playing, or are they really playing a game? But then they're just doing that when I walk by? Or they just sit around the table and pretend like they're playing a game? Or what? They're like, here he comes. Everybody sit around the table and pretend like you're playing a game, and then play the game. They are playing a game, but they're pretending like they're playing another game. Or are they really playing a game, and then they're like, oh, here he comes. Get loud when he walks by. These are the questions. These are the questions, man. And then, of course, there's the guy, like, at the end of the video. I think they were, like, teenagers or whatever. And they were just, like... There's a bunch of shit happening up that whole block. And... But, yeah, then those cars took off next to me, and he, like, screeched his tires next to me. And like, when I was walking by the other car before he takes off next to me, he's like, fucking gang stalkers, or some shit like that. He's like, yeah, gang stalkers. And then he just, like, pulls off, screeching his tires next to me. But yeah, I just want to talk about that house, though. And then there was another house that I walked by where this guy was, like, howling like a wolf or something. And and then, like, after I was recording last night, someone was yelling, and they're just like, ah! Just one time, though. Like, just one synced up yelling like that. And then there's people outside last night too that were doing the synced yelling, like, outside my apartment. And then when I came outside, there's people doing the synced yelling and synced, like, woo! Every weekend there's people outside just doing synced woo! Every weekend. I see a car taking off out of the driveway. They used not to sync, because I always see cars sinking in that driveway. He's sinking with a car on the street. And then the AC outside my apartment turned off, synced with the cars. And he's driving away, and then he's syncing with two other cars as he goes around the corner. And then they're syncing with each other at the intersection. And then they're syncing with another car at the intersection. And they're all syncing. And then my sink was dripping, synced last night again. It's not dripping right now. Oh yeah, it is. It's just been dripping nonstop too, like unsynced too, but it's been also dripping synced. I don't know how my sink drips synced, but it syncs. That's all I have to say, I think, about the sinks right now. I'm sure there's other things I forgot, as always, because there's so many sinks. It's sink-tarded. Like, I wish I had an infinite battery life on my phone so I could catch all the sinks. Just like spy glasses with infinite video and infinite battery. Because there's just so many sinks. Yeah, this is indescribably synced. Sink-tarded. And then when I don't record, or like sometimes, a lot of times when I don't record, they'll be even more sink-tarded. And then like yesterday morning when I was recording, or like I started a live stream and then it like glitched out, wouldn't connect. Like it has this button that says reconnect and it won't reconnect. So then I have to exit out of the live stream and then delete the video and then start another live stream. And then in between that, when I'm setting up the other live stream, there's like all these stalkers, like just like a burst of stalkers all of a sudden, like 10 of them, and like a car taking off next to me and all this stuff. It's like they do it to like poke at me, like, haha, you didn't catch that on camera. But like I don't even give a fuck really, but like but like and like they'll always do something right after I turn the camera off too, usually. Like right after I turn the camera off, like a siren will start or whatever. Something will happen that like it's like they're like, ha ha. And then like a lot of the times, like I always say, they'll just like they'll be going hard with the stalking, and then I'll turn the camera on, and then there'll be no stalkers or less of them, or they'll be far like doing stalker things in the distance that I can't catch on camera or whatever. Like they'll just go out in the distance more, or they'll just disappear completely for like the first few minutes of the video, and then they slowly start trickling in, and then it's stalkered up for the whole rest of the video. But it'll like be different than it was before I was recording. Still, usually like it'll be less stalkers, or it'll be like a different thing. Like they were doing red cars before I was recording, and now they're doing black and silver, whatever. And then a lot of the time when I start recording, like the first car that's on the video, like that's the color theme for the rest of the video. Or like the first car, like when I start recording, the first car you see is a red car, and then the whole rest of the video I'm seeing a bunch of red cars. And other colors too, but a lot of red cars though. And just like red cars that like synced up at like, you know what I mean. It's just mostly red cars. Or like the same thing, like if I come outside, like the first thing I see when I come outside will be the theme or whatever, or sometimes it's like that. But yeah, they do all types of weird shit like that. My neighbor just coughed. It's probably a synchronizer, because I just stopped talking, and it was probably synchronized with that, I guess. But I'm gonna get off of here, I think. I just wanted to talk about that house last night, how they were doing their card game or whatever it was. And people are always doing shit like that, especially like, well, especially on the weekends, like I said. But like, people just be standing outside their houses like that, or outside of bars and shit, and doing synced yelling and talking and shit. Woo! And synced laughing. And like laughing when I walk by, like they're like mocking me, and like weirdo shit. Just a whole bunch of weirdo shit going on out here. And people just be like standing on the sidewalk, just like staring at me, like all the way up the sidewalk, and like laughing at me and shit, and doing weird shit. And then the ACA thing outside my apartment is turned off, and then I heard my neighbor like sneeze or something at the same time. But I'm out of here.